I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you need to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And speaking of bright, shining stars, tomorrow we are having a lunar eclipse at 26 degrees of Aries, and a lunar eclipse is always a full moon, so there'll be a lot of light in Aries, which is the sign of new beginnings. And that is why, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know that the title of tonight's show is Stiff Resistance. And the reason why you could be involved with stiff resistance in one way or another in the next week is because the lunar eclipse tomorrow is accompanied by another planet in the sign of Aries, and that is Uranus. Uranus is the planet of genius, of things ahead of their time, of rebellion and music and anything that goes through the air. So it rules the whole electronics field, it rules space and aviation, the internet, and it certainly does rule invention or ideas ahead of their time. And that is what can be meeting stiff resistance this week under the lunar eclipse. First of all, we know that a lunar eclipse, since it is involving the moon, and the moon rules women, it's generally a time when one woman goes and another woman comes. It doesn't have to be simultaneous. In fact, there was another lunar eclipse in Aries 6 months ago, and that is when something was set up to allow stiff resistance right now. And that is because there can be somebody around with an idea that is ahead of their time. And since Uranus is retrograde, maybe they weren't heard the first time, or maybe they were a little too early with their thinking. But now it's a different story, and it simply means that they can get an endorsement right now, maybe even a little seed money to get something new underway. So where's the stiff resistance coming from? From the fact that there are 5 planets in the cardinal signs. Aries is a cardinal sign, so the full moon and Uranus are there tomorrow, and they are opposing the sun in Libra. Those 3 planets are being squared by Pluto in Capricorn and also by Jupiter in Cancer, and that makes up the 5 planets that are all harshly squaring and opposing each other. And that simply means a lot of people can be very resistant to somebody who is a little ahead of their time or has a great idea right now. And it may be that the stiff resistance is coming from the fact that they wish they would have thought of it first. I think that's really what's behind it all, because the full moon and Uranus are being squared by Pluto in Capricorn, and that means that somebody who is used to having things done in a rather bureaucratic way with strict policies and rules and regulations may be challenging a new start right now because it doesn't fit into the old mode or the old way of doing things, and that can be threatening. Or it can simply be that with the full moon and Uranus opposing the sun in Libra, and Libra ruling partnership and compromise, that there could be a break. Now, a sudden break. Remember, Uranus rules sudden change, and that sudden break can simply end in a divorce or some sort of separation right now. So that could affect, that stiff resistance could affect a partnership in an adverse way. Also, there can be people in family situations or even something that involves real estate right now that is thrown off a little bit by the lunar eclipse in Aries. And so there can be a lot of challenges right now. And that is because an experimental, Uranus rules experimental things, an experimental endeavor can be sorely challenged by others for different reasons, but I think the main reason behind it all is that it is a good idea, and that the time has come for it, and there can be a lot of people that either wish they had thought of it instead, or else they may want to make a power play and sort of grab that idea and run with it themselves. And so that's why there can be so much stiff resistance, as other people feel that their ideas are just as valid. And I think that in spite of all that stiff resistance, there really is going to be some idea that's ahead of its time that is going to make it. And how will that happen? Well, actually, it's wonderful that some planets have now changed signs and are in more supportive positions. In fact, Venus, the love planet, has moved into Sagittarius, a fire sign, and Sagittarius rules higher education and people in positions of judicial power, or people from foreign countries, or it can be that it rules very high-minded philosophical people. Since Venus is there, all of those things are highlighted, but it is trying the lunar eclipse in Aries, so it's trying that full moon, and it's trying the other love planet, Uranus, which doesn't rule touching love the way Venus does. Uranus rules platonic and soul-satisfying love. So that is very harmonious. And that's why I think, despite a lot of stiff resistance, somebody is going to get the endorsement of a very intelligent person. And with that endorsement, doors will open. How will that happen? Well, actually, right behind the sign of Aries, where the lunar eclipse occurs tomorrow, is the sign of Pisces. And Neptune is the ruler of that sign, and it is there very powerfully being trined by Mercury and Saturn in Scorpio, and also by Jupiter in Cancer. So behind the scenes, I think that there can be more support around for someone who is a little bit ahead of their time than other people realize. And the fact that this grand trine in water signs is very powerful right now is going to have an effect on getting something financed. Why would that be? Because Venus is at 12 degrees of Sagittarius, trining the lunar eclipse, and it is exactly sextile Saturn at 12 degrees of Scorpio, right behind it. And Mercury is there as well. And so somebody who is rather serious and may have a lot of money could be rather secretly or very quietly interested in the endorsement that someone makes of a new idea right now. And if they hear a positive endorsement about an idea that's ahead of its time, they may decide, since Scorpio is a financial sign, to at least give seed money to some new endeavor right now. And if that seed money results in a proposal or a prototype that does look like it's going to work, then there could be a lot more money coming someone's way, and something that is ahead of its time could get off the ground and last for a very long time to come. It just needs sort of the right people in the right place, and it does need a little bit of money behind it, and I think that that can happen now, despite stiff resistance. What does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, since that lunar eclipse is in your sign, and there was another one 6 months ago, it simply means that by now, Aries, there is one woman that's gone out of your life perhaps, and another one coming in. That would be nice. Or it can simply be that there is the threat of a breakup or a divorce right now, because remember that full moon and Uranus, the planet of sudden change, are opposing the sun in Libra right now. So no matter what you do, Aries, I would say some partner is not going to agree with you about that, or you might be on the losing end of some legal settlement right now, or legal question, since Libra also rules the law, and you can be challenged by management, or your home conditions may not be quite to your liking right now. However, you have a choice, Aries. You can either be supportive of somebody who's rather unusual but ahead of their time, and can get the backing, remember, of someone rather intelligent. And if you are supportive of that new thinking person, that simply means you yourself could get some additional backing. So you could choose to be supportive right now, and that could get you somewhere in the end, Aries. Or you too could decide to set up stiff resistance. If you do, it's going to be too stiff, and it isn't going to get you anywhere, because remember, there is the threat of a breakup, and I sure wouldn't want it to be yours, Aries. So this is a time to sort of listen to others who are more intelligent and follow their lead if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, It's very fortunate for you that another planet has now changed signs as well. Extremely fortunate for you, actually, because now Mars is no longer in Leo squaring your sun. It has moved into Virgo, and now it is trining your sun. And Capricorn, or Pluto in Capricorn, is also trining your sun, Taurus. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and Scorpio is the other financial sign. And Saturn and Mercury are in Scorpio right now, and they are opposing your sun sign, which is an indication that either you have just received sad news or you may very soon, and that sad news could be connected with some sort of loss of funds or very, very high costs. But at the same time, Taurus, with Mars and Pluto now trining your sun, lending a lot of stability and pertinent facts to a health matter or an accounting matter, and to something that involves long-term security, I would say, since they're the rulers of Scorpio and Scorpio rules financing, even if you have had some sad news or a financial setback recently, Taurus, I think you can renegotiate the terms on something. And that could be by being very factual. You'd have to come up with a lot of details. Maybe you'd have to do a lot of explaining. But it looks positive, Taurus. So if you wanted to refinance something, this may be a time when you could do that. And I think before you couldn't. But now a door opens for that. And I think you can renegotiate something regarding financial terms or taxes. And that in the long run, that can be favorable for you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time when you benefit from things that other people can be stopped by. And how do you do that? Well, the lunar eclipse tomorrow in Aries is sextiling your sun, meaning that the moon and Uranus in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, can offer you a chance at a new beginning, Gemini, and it would be by joining someone who's a little bit ahead of their time and being supportive of them. It could reflect well on you, Gemini. And also that sun in Libra, which is being challenged because Libra is a cardinal sign, so there's 5 planets in the cardinal signs harshly aspecting each other, but still, that moon in Libra trines your sun, Gemini. So there is a little room for you to move right now, Gemini, to join something new and to have a delightful partner that can help you with that. There's also the possibility, Gemini, that something very sudden could open up for you and you should take it. So just remember, if suddenly there is an opening, perhaps one that you'd been waiting on for a long time, you should just jump on it if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Cancer? Well, Cancer, Jupiter is in your sign, but the full moon lunar eclipse and Uranus are squaring your sign. Pluto in Capricorn is opposing it, and the sun in Libra is also squaring your sign. So even though there is a grand trine in water signs right now, which is very strong, it simply means that you two may want to set up some sort of stiff resistance and thwart somebody else who has an idea that's ahead of their time, or somebody who wants to make a sudden change. I urge you to step back right now, Cancer, and not do that. And the reason why is because you may feel you're really right about something, but this is a time when there can be an emphasis on the future. And a lot of people are looking toward the future because they do not like looking at the past. It hasn't done them any good, and you shouldn't either, Cancer. So you are not being threatened financially or emotionally. That's why you have nothing to lose by someone else making a new beginning. And it probably will be subject to change or revision, but I don't think you have to get in the way with that. And in fact, I think you should step back instead and enjoy your own security and your own home life just the way it is. You have many blessings, Cancer. This is the time to count them and stay out of everyone else's business right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is simply a time when things really have changed. Lucky you, Leo, because remember, Mars has been in your sign for quite a while, causing a lot of consternation and certainly highlighting shortages, financial shortages. Well, those financial shortages haven't really quite gone away yet because Saturn in Scorpio and Mercury are still squaring your sun, but at least you don't have Mars there causing problems anymore. So I think you can sort of de-stress right now, Leo. In fact, I think romance is headed your way. And that is because how could you escape it, Leo? Both love planets are trining your sun. The full moon lunar eclipse tomorrow in Aries, along with Uranus, is trining your sun, and so is Venus in Sagittarius. So I think there are some delightful people headed your way, and they may not all have romance on their mind, but some of them do. And also there can be somebody very intelligent that wants to endorse an idea that's ahead of its time right now because they have listened to it and they've thought about it and they think it's a good idea too. You could be joining them, Leo. There could be a new door opening for you very suddenly if you decide not to offer stiff resistance, which I don't think you're in the mood for, and instead follow along and look toward the future right now, because it's looking very bright for others and it can look bright for you too. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time with Mars now in your sign when you can be all fired up and very stressed out as well. Your sign rules details and facts and being of assistance to others, but it also rules health. In fact, it rules the whole healthcare field. And there can be problems in that area, either with your health, either physically or mentally, or since your sign also rules accounting and teaching, there can be problems in that area. And so the way I think that this can affect you right now is, first of all, that Venus in Sagittarius is squaring Mars in your sign, which means there can be a relationship that isn't working out too well. And there can be people that can be thinking very high-minded and in a philosophical way, and you can be sticking to details instead and sort of watching all of the fine print. I think you should continue to do that. You're good at that too, Virgo. And I think that that is going to pay off in the end. So right now, I think that you're pretty busy and you probably are feeling a little stretched out and you feel like you can't be in every place that you want to be. You also could be very nervous right now, and that is because you could be worried about a lot of things because your sign rules the whole central nervous system, so you got to calm down somehow, Virgo. And I don't think you're going to get much chance to do that right now, not because you're involved in stiff resistance, but because Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun where you have Mars, and those two planets are the rulers of Scorpio. So if somebody comes along with a good idea and does get an endorsement, the next question would be, how are they going to pay for putting something new into effect? And they may turn around and ask you to compile some details or put together some sort of plan, and that could create a lot of work for you. But Virgo, you're going to really come to the top by paying attention to details right now and doing what is asked of you, because as long as you work really hard right now, it will assure your long-term security. In fact, you may have a promotion coming out of it all. So try to relax and work hard at the same time if you can. What does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the sun is in your sign, but it is being harshly aspected by that lunar eclipse in Aries because the moon, the full moon, and Uranus are opposing the sun in your sign, and that is an indication of a possible breakup or divorce or separation now. Yours is a very partnership-oriented sign, but you may not feel bad at somebody taking off. Maybe you've had enough of somebody right now, Libra, and you'd rather have peace by yourself. If that's the only way you can get it is to say goodbye to somebody, then that might be what you go for, because Pluto in Capricorn is also squaring your sun. Jupiter in Cancer is squaring it as well. And so you may decide there just isn't a way to affect a compromise right now. There aren't planets in any of the other air signs, so you're a little bit on your own right now. And if you have to wave goodbye to somebody because they're just taking off or because they want to rebel, I think that you'd be better off, Libra, and that is because you have a peaceful nature. You don't always need to be stirred up by somebody else who's on fire. You need another peaceful companion, and if you can't find them right now, at least divest yourself of somebody who's causing you stress, because you're not compatible with them anyway. So it is okay to say goodbye. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, remember I mentioned that right behind this lunar eclipse in Aries is Neptune in Pisces, and that it is part of a grand trine in water signs that is very strongly supported right now. So you have Neptune trining your sun sign, where you have Saturn and Mercury conjunct each other, and Jupiter in Cancer is also trining your sun sign. Because Saturn is at 12 degrees in your sign, and it is right behind Venus, which is also at 12 degrees in Sagittarius ahead of it. It simply means that somebody who may endorse, somebody who's rather intelligent, may endorse an idea that is ahead of its time, and because you trust their judgment, you may quietly decide to fund or back some sort of idea that does need a little seed money right now, and you can afford it, Scorpio. So very, very quietly and with a lot of thought and preparation that you have already been doing, you may decide to go ahead and at least see if a new idea can fly right now. And I think it can, because now is a better time for that to happen. If you do give seed money to somebody else who can then go ahead and be supportive and endorse someone who's ahead of their time, if the prototype or the proposal works out just with a little bit of seed money, it could turn into a money maker for a lot of people. And how would that affect us all? It means that it would have some effect on our survival. That's what your sign rules. And so even with a little bit of support right now, Scorpio, you could be allowing something wonderful to help others survive in the future. And it could make an awful lot of money. So it might be new now, but it could soon be so popular that everybody would be doing it. And so I think that if you trust someone else's judgment, now's the time to back them financially if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, you have Venus in your sign. Lucky you, because both love planets are trining each other right now. So Venus in your sign is trining Uranus, the other love planet, in Aries, and it is accompanying the full moon lunar eclipse in Aries, which is also trining Venus in your sign. You are very popular right now, Sagittarius. So is Leo, and so is Aries, among people who want to move fast. But it isn't just fast, or it isn't just speed that counts at all right now. And what it counts is intelligence. And Sagittarius is the sign of intelligence. It's ruled by Jupiter, which rules the higher mind and higher education. And so Sagittarius, you may suddenly hear of an idea or a person that is ahead of their time, and you may really like what they've got to say. And so I would say go for it, Sagittarius. So very suddenly you may be involved in a new endeavor that you just feel is exactly right for you, and you'd be right about that. So trust your own judgment right now, Sagittarius, because I think not only are you popular, but you're going to love doing something new that is just right for you. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time when you may be offering very stiff resistance. And the reason why is that yours is a sign that rules big government and big corporations, and it rules bureaucracy. It rules taking proper steps and not skipping any of them to make sure that policies and rules and regulations are enforced. And so Pluto in your sign is squaring the lunar eclipse in Aries and Uranus as well. And so that means you could be insisting that somebody with a great idea that's ahead of its time conform to old rules and regulations. This would set up stiff resistance, and believe me, that's not the attitude to have, Capricorn, because it's not going to work. And that's because we can't hang on to the past. We do have to change. Even if change comes about suddenly, it does indicate change for the better, for a better future for a lot of people. Uranus rules sudden change, and it's in the sign of new beginnings where this lunar eclipse is. So it's you, Capricorn, that has to adjust to somebody that's ahead of their time. Maybe now you are going to be asking someone else to come up with a lot of details and facts so that you can get ready to adjust to something. But I don't think you're adjusting right now, and it can be that you wish you had thought of a great idea. But it is your forte to really make sure that there is structure to any kind of organization, and that takes time. So with Mars in Virgo trining your sun, I think that that's what you should concentrate on, the facts and setting up some sort of structure, because sooner or later when that idea gels, they're going to need some structure, and that is when you can sort of join a winning team. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, Lucky you, it's your sun sign ruler Uranus that is included in this lunar eclipse tomorrow, because the full moon is in Aries and so is Uranus. Both of those planets are sextiling your sun, and that simply means you are going to benefit from somebody else that has a great idea that's ahead of its time. Or it could be you that's got that, Aquarius, and now the timing is just better than it had been in the past, and that's why something may get off the ground. I also think that there is somebody else who is very intelligent that is willing to endorse a great idea right now. Venus in Sagittarius is also sextiling your sun. So you may be the person that's in the right place at the right time to benefit from a great idea, even if it isn't yours, and also to be included in the implementation of that as well. You may as well go for something new, Aquarius, because there still isn't enough money around with Saturn and Mercury squaring your sun. So if I were you, I'd get onto something that is new, it could be very promising right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, lucky you, you're going to be able to see a new beginning right ahead of you, Pisces. And that is because that lunar eclipse is right ahead of your sign. But yours is a supportive sign, a nurturing sign, and a forgiving sign. So I think no matter what kind of stiff resistance somebody else is going to run into, you will be there to sort of help them set up some sort of support network, even if it's just moral support, and that will do you a world of good. They may even help you make a dream come true, Pisces. So I think all you need to do is prepare for a surprise that could happen very fast, because I think you're going to see the benefit to it no matter how much resistance is occurring right now. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.